What really matters to you? This past weekend on Sunday, I was hanging out on the couch and just kind of doing some work after yoga before heading to a family lunch for Thanksgiving. And Andrew calls me and he says, I'm at the gym right now, but I don't know if I pulled something in my back, I'm trying to foam roll, it's literally so painful. And so he's like, I literally can't even do my workout. I need to come home. And so I said, okay, no worries. Come home. Obviously don't be pushing yourself. Just come back home. And he came back home and not even 10 minutes later, he was in the bathroom on the floor in excruciating pain. And he came out of the bathroom and he said, I don't think this is back pain. He says, I think I'm trying to pass a kidney stone. And so he's like, we need to go to Emerge. So I drive him to the emergency room. And thankfully where I live, it's literally a 1-minute drive. Poor Andrew is in so much pain. He's bent over. I bring him to emergency. He can't even sit on a chair. He's literally on the floor. He was just, it was just in so much pain. And I was trying to give him water. And we get into the room. And I just never seen him in so much pain before. And he was shaking, literally shaking. His whole body was shaking for 45 minutes to an hour. It was, honestly, I've never experienced something like that before. I was literally crying and emotional because I just felt so bad that I literally couldn't even do anything and he just needed to pass this. And it doesn't really matter the specifics of what exactly happened. But I was sitting there on the chair. And I just sat with myself. And I really thought, what really matters? What truly matters? As I was sitting there, I wasn't thinking about my body. I wasn't thinking about what I ate for breakfast. I wasn't thinking about, I'm going away with friends next weekend. How am I going to look? That was not on my mind. What I cared about and what I was thinking about is my relationship with Andrew. Being there for him as he's going through this excruciating pain that he's experiencing. Me just being by his side. I said, hold my hand, squeeze my hand. I got you. Whatever you need to do, you're going to be okay. And I just felt so bad. But all I really cared about in that moment was to see him smile again. To see him happy again. It literally killed me to see him in that much pain. I was at the emergency room for, I think it was 8 hours. And I was like, I'm not leaving. And I know this is just a kidney stone. I don't want to say just a kidney stone, but I know obviously there's a lot more, worse things. But I was like, I don't even want to go home. And he's like, Lorna, you need to go home and take care of yourself and whatever. And I was like, okay, I ended up going home, making dinner or, heating some soup up, bringing some soup to Andrew. And I brought him, I didn't know if we needed to stay over. I was like, I'm going to sleep on the chair if I need. I brought blankets. I brought his sweater. I brought him a massive bowl of soup. I packed him a full meal. I packed him some cheese and I packed him some cashews. I packed him all these necessary things just to try to make him feel better. And anyways, long story short, I just sat there and I was like, this is all that matters right now. I was not even thinking about, what do I need to post on social media? That's my job. But what really mattered to me in that moment was my husband, was presence, was being there for him. And so Andrew and I were actually both talking about this, and we both said we had these kind of light bulb moments where sometimes, these situations really puts things into perspective. Like, it doesn't freaking matter what you ate for breakfast. It literally does not even matter. You stressing about what you're eating for dinner doesn't freaking matter. The size you are, it doesn't freaking matter. The way you look, it doesn't freaking matter. What actually matters is your health. The people that you love in your life, that they're safe, that they're healthy. And I was just sitting there on that chair, and I literally was not thinking about anything else except just being by Andrew's side. And I am so freaking glad that I healed my relationship with food, that I healed myself, so that I could actually be present with him. Because there would have been times in the past where I would be there, but I'd be thinking, oh my gosh, missed my workout, or, what am I going to eat? Or so many different things. And I was actually able to just be so present and be there with him and actually focus on what really matters. And I wanted to share this story, and I also told Andrew that I would be sharing this as well too, because it's so important to connect to what really matters to you. You think what really matters is, the body of my dreams, and what really matters is, I need to eat perfectly balanced meals, but that actually doesn't matter. It actually doesn't matter. If you've ever had to experience something where, a loved one passed away, or a loved one was going through a challenging time, or a coworker, or whoever, it's like it really does put things into perspective. And, I was also just thinking about how grateful I am that, we are actually very healthy. This kidney stone, unfortunately, is hereditary. It does run in his family. But we are very healthy people. And a few things from that is, number one, you can still be a healthy person and still go through challenges. But also, number two, thank God we're healthy. And thank God we don't have to come here all the time. Thank God we don't go through this all the time. Thank God we're actually healthy human people. Thank God that we do take care of ourselves. Because imagine if we didn't take care of ourselves. So there was so much to be grateful for, but there was also just so much realizations of, putting things into perspective, what actually matters. And I kid you not, when I drove back to the emergency room after eating some dinner, making Andrew some dinner, and they said, you should be fine to come back home after 8 hours of seeing my poor freaking husband in so much pain. It was just excruciating. It was horrifying, actually. I've never seen somebody shake and be in so much pain before. But when the doctor came and she was like, okay, it seems to have shifted in your body. They did a scan and, it looks like you should be okay to go home. And we were so worried because he went through a burst of pain for hours, and then he obviously needed to be put on morphine and all the things because the pain was just too bad, and he was fine. And then again, another burst, and it was even worse. So I was so worried coming back home that the pain would come back again, or we would have to go back in the middle of the night, which obviously is not that big of a deal, but I just didn't want him to experience that pain again. And we got home, and I literally was so happy. I was a little kid. I was just cuddling up with Andrew. I didn't even want to let go of him. We sat on the couch. We put our blanket on our bodies, and I pulled up my laptop and we watched the Golden Bachelorette, one of our favorite shows that we love watching together. And in that moment, I could not even tell you what that moment meant to me. I didn't care about anything else in the world. It was just in this moment, us together, this is everything. This is everything. This moment is just so special that I get to be with you, that I'm seeing you not in pain. I was just so grateful for that moment. And I went to bed and I literally just had a smile on my face, even though it was a challenging day. I was just so grateful to be with my husband again, not have him having to stay overnight, and just, again, not see him in pain. And, it really does put things into perspective. But I was also even telling Andrew, I said, man, if you can freaking go through that, you can overcome anything. Like, while I was at the emergency room with him, I was like, babe, you're so strong. Like, I always tell my clients, I'm like, you're a badass. You can do hard things. And I was just reminding my husband, like, you're so strong. Like, you can overcome this. Like, you got this. And I truly believe that was super supportive and super helpful. And with anything that you're going through in your life, right? You've been through hardship before. I know you have. Or maybe somebody in your life has been through something challenging and that impacted you. And if you've gone through, which I know you have, something challenging, it's like, remind yourself that you can do anything. You can do anything. You can overcome binge eating, because if you've gone through that hard thing, man, you can absolutely overcome binge eating. And I kept on telling my husband, like, man, like, any challenge you go through or any pain you experience, knee pain or whatever it is, like, that's going to be nothing compared to what you've experienced. Like, anytime you're going through a challenge in anything, in any area of your life, just remember how you felt in that moment and how freaking strong you were and how you overcame that, to remind you that on tough days, you can do anything. Like, literally, you're unstoppable. You can freaking overcome anything. And so I just wanted to share this with you, to not get into nitty-gritty details, but to share the lessons that you can overcome hard things. The pain doesn't last forever. Does the pain suck? Maybe you are going through something right now, or even in your relationship with food. It's like, it doesn't have to be anything extreme. Maybe you're not feeling comfortable in your own skin, or maybe you are still doing some overeating. It's like, you can overcome it. Pain doesn't last forever. Like, you're going to be okay. And also, really ask yourself, what really matters? You're over here stressing about, dinner meals. You're over here stressing about, did I have too much carbs today? Did I get enough protein? Like, you're worrying about the wrong things. And I know because I've been there. I've been through all the diets, and it's so ingrained into your brain. But anytime those thoughts pop up of like, oh my gosh, I ate too much today, or oh, I had a slice of pizza that I probably shouldn't, like, bring yourself back to what actually matters. Bring yourself back to the truth of what is actually important for you. Because when you really ask yourself that question, I guarantee you're not going to be like, the most important thing in life is the fact that I had my protein today. That's not going to be the most important thing. The most important thing is probably going to be like, I had quality time with my partner, or I was there for my children, or like, your values, your priorities are not, like, if you actually really think about them deep down, it's not that you want to be, you're not going to be thinking about your body. You're not going to be thinking about your food. You think about the more and actual important things in life. And you don't have to wait to heal your relationship with food to make these things important for you. It is already important for you. You just got to redirect your thoughts. When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, oh, I don't like the way my body looks. Okay, but you know what? I'm so grateful that I have these beautiful children and a husband who loves me so deeply. Like, that's what actually matters. That's what actually matters. And I remember Andrew telling me, like, I'm so grateful that we have such a great relationship, that, we're there for each other through anything. Like, I've got your back, you got my back. And it literally made me emotional, it literally made me so emotional. And that just goes to show you the things that are actually important for you. How many grams of protein you ate, I'm sorry. Like, that doesn't matter. Did you get your vegetables in today? Like, yes, that's important, but it's not the most important thing in the world. So an activity that you can actually do is just journal out, like, what's most important to you? What are your top values? What are your top priorities? Health could be a top priority. I mean, it's important to be healthy, for sure. But health is also very different than, health is very different than like, oh, did I get in my protein today? Like, that's very different. Health is like, yeah, I want to live a long life. I want to live until I'm 100 years old. Like, I want to have good blood work. I want to be able to not go to the hospital, not go to the emergency room. Like, that's health, right? So what actually really matters to you? Do this exercise. So anytime your mind is going in diet culture land, you can redirect yourself back to what actually matters. So wanted to share this with you, and actually about an hour ago, I just got a text from Andrew that he finally did pass the stone. Even though he did come home that night, he didn't pass it, and they just said, it does need to pass on its own, even though it was like half a centimeter, which is crazy. But a few days later, today is Thursday, he did pass it about an hour ago, and it was a little bit painful, but looks like he's going to be okay for right now. So I'm just grateful, and I'm just happy that everything is all good. So thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for listening to this, and extract the lessons that I just shared. Focus on what truly, truly matters to you, and you'll have a completely different perspective on life, on your workouts, on your food, and just everything in general. So I love you guys. Have an amazing rest of your day, and do not forget that you are absolutely a badass, and you can do hard things like conquer binge eating.